What if I told you the real terror in Derry didn't begin with a red balloon but with a missing memory? A moment buried so deep in the town's past that even the people who lived it forgot it happened. A moment so horrifying, the town itself swallowed it whole. Because long before the Losers Club, before the sewers, before the clown, Derry was already bleeding. People whispered about a shape that lurked at the edge of their vision. A presence that slipped between thoughts like a cold finger dragged across the spine. And every time someone tried to talk about it, their voice simply died. Tonight, we're going to peel open that forgotten wound. Tonight, we enter Derry at the moment the curse first woke up. A summer when children vanished without footprints, a year when adults suddenly stopped asking questions, and the night when a playful laugh, echoing under a streetlight, wasn't a child at all, but something ancient, something hungry, something wearing a smile that wasn't human. So, before we go on, ask yourself one question. If you heard a child laughing alone in the dark, would you follow it? Because in Derry, that's exactly how people die. THETONT40TOTOCREM. The episode opens with a place that should have been harmless. Derry Public Library, 5 or 12 p.m. The librarian is locking up, humming quietly, when she notices something odd. One of the children's books is open on the floor, pages still fluttering, like someone ran their fingers across it seconds ago. She picks it up, freezes. The illustration isn't what she remembers. The book used to show a smiling cartoon clown juggling 3 colorful balls. But now, the clown is staring directly at her. Eyes yellow, mouth split too wide. The balls replaced with tiny, floating heads. Her breath catches. She blinks. The page is normal again. But it was enough. The seed of terror has been planted. She leaves the library in a rush, but as she steps outside, she notices something even stranger. The streets are silent. No children playing. No bikes. No dogs barking. Not even the hum of cars. Just a single red balloon drifting slowly across the road, moving against the wind. This isn't the Pennywise we've known. This is something deeper, a presence testing the boundaries of waking up. And Derry is already letting it in. TFRST, our main character. Martha, 15, quiet, observant, carrying grief like a shadow, walks home from a part-time job at a diner. She's used to this silence. Derry's been different lately. Even her mother barely speaks anymore. She's passing the abandoned textile mill when she hears it, a giggle. Soft, faint, childlike but wrong, too echoey, as if bouncing off walls that aren't there. Martha freezes. Then she sees him. A boy maybe 8, standing near the edge of the mill, barefoot, pale, smiling too hard. His balloon bumps gently against his shoulder. "Who are you lost?" Martha asks. The boy tilts his head. His smile widens. The balloon rises behind him, stopping perfectly mid-air, not drifting, as if waiting. And then he whispers, "Do you want to see where I live?" Before Martha can answer, the boy steps backward. But his shadow doesn't move. It stays frozen on the wall. That's the first sign. The second sign is his eyes. They shift. Not blink. Shift, like they're sliding inside his skull, trying to decide what shape to take. Martha runs. She doesn't look back. But the sound follows her, tap, tap. Bare feet slapping the pavement. Too fast to be human. She bursts into her house, locks the door, and collapses. For a moment, silence returns. Until knock. Slow. Deliberate. Martha inches to the window and peeks out. Nothing. But wedged under the front doormat is a single scrap of paper torn from a children's book. The clown from earlier, but this time, the illustration isn't smiling. It's looking straight at her, with the words, "IKOURNAMI. Shiti Tudian RSTLE." The next morning, the mayor holds a town meeting. Something has happened. A child named Elias Griggs has gone missing. The adults mutter about bears, kidnappers, summer heat. But every teenager in the room knows the truth. Elias wasn't the first. Just the first the adults were willing to admit. Because for weeks, whispers about the laughing thing have been spreading behind locker doors and whispered phone calls. But here's the chilling part. Every adult reacts the same way. The same words. The same tone. Almost rehearsed. He probably ran away. He's probably hiding. He'll come home. He always does. Their faces look blank, like puppets waiting for someone to pull the next string. Martha realizes something horrifying. The adults aren't ignoring the danger. They're unable to recognize it. Like their minds have been rewired or overwritten. And while she's sitting there, heart pounding, she sees something no one else reacts to. The clown poster on the wall, advertising the upcoming Derry Harvest Festival, slowly turns its head toward her. Not the whole poster, just the face. And Martha understands the truth. Derry is starting to remember the monster buried beneath it because that monster is waking up. THE, MUBORYK dested BOTR. That night, Martha has a dream. Only it doesn't feel like a dream. She's underwater, dark, cold, floating next to enormous pipes. Sewer tunnels twist into impossible shapes. Something moves in the blackness, not slithering. A voice coils around her mind. This town tasted sweeter the last time. Images flash. Children running. Blood in a gutter. A red balloon drifting downward like a falling star. Cotton candy dripping with something that is definitely not sugar. Then she sees it. For a fraction of a second. A face. White paint. Smiling. But melted, cracked, ancient. Like something wearing the memory of a clown. She wakes up screaming. But the worst part. She wakes with something clutched in her hand. A small paper boat. Waterlogged. As if she pulled it out of the sewer herself. The narration softens here, pulling the viewer into direct participation. Let me ask you something. If you found a water-soaked paper boat on your nightstand, would you pick it up? Or would you burn it before it ever touched the water again? I'd love to know. What would you do in Martha's place? Drop your answer below. And be honest. Because the next part of this story might depend on it. A subscriber nudge. Subla. If you're loving this breakdown of Welcome to Derry and want the next 2 parts, make sure you're subscribed. Things are about to get even darky. Isago, NTECW, RGA. Martha, shaking, steps outside to breathe. The air feels wrong. Heavy charged like the sky is waiting for something. She walks to the curb. That's when she sees it, the sewer grate. The same one from her dream. At first, she sees only darkness, then 2 faint yellow lights flicker in the black. Not eyes, reflections. Something wet breathes. A voice soft as a lullaby. You drop something. A hand emerges, gloved, white, holding out another paper boat, not hers, Eliza's. And now she knows the monster isn't coming. It's already here. The storm raged harder over Derry as the night deepened. But Patrick felt something colder than rain running down his spine. He wasn't supposed to be here. No kid sane enough to run from danger would willingly return to the place where the voices first whispered to him. But Patrick wasn't here by choice anymore. Something had pulled him back. He stepped onto Witcham Street, and the moment he did, the entire neighborhood felt wrong, like the houses were leaning toward him, listening, watching, waiting. A streetlight flickered overhead. Once. Twice, then steadied. And in that brief flicker, Patrick could swear he saw a silhouette across the road. Small, hunched, holding something impossible. It was gone. But the dread stayed. The kind of dread that crawls under your skin long before your brain can name it. TENALFTBEAND. Patrick reached into his jacket pocket. The soaked paper inside crackled between his fingers, still intact despite the rain's best effort to dissolve it. It was the note he found on his pillow an hour earlier. Not written by an adult. Not left by someone sneaking into his room. The handwriting was too strange, too childish, and somehow too old. It said, "Come back to where you stopped being afraid. PW. He didn't know what the initials meant. Or maybe he just didn't want to admit what they meant. He looked up. The streetlight flickered again, and this time, a red balloon drifted across the asphalt, pulled by no wind at all. Patrick froze. No one else was outside. No footsteps. Just the balloon gliding slow, deliberate, and then it stopped. Right in front of his feet. Hovering. Patrick whispered, "This isn't real." But Derry had a long history of ignoring what was real. And an even longer history of eating kids who whispered too quietly. The Saibu RT8 bar ET Patrick backed away from the balloon, but the sound that followed stopped him, a slow, wet inhale. Coming from the storm drain. Not water. Not an animal. Something breathing. Something large. Something waiting. He knelt slowly, because fear makes you foolish before it makes you smart. The shadows beneath the grate pulsed with the faintest movement. He leaned closer. Don't lean closer. But he did anyway. Patrick. The voice slithered out like silk dragged across teeth. Patrick, you came back to play. He stumbled backward, landing hard on the pavement. The balloon popped behind him, spraying red dye across the concrete like blood from a fresh wound. The whisper crept out again. Derry remembers you. Derry misses you. Patrick ran. But no kid can outrun something that owns the entire town.